Number 2, roll call, please.
Mr. Brzezinski?
Here.
Mr. Sprecher?
Here.
Ms. Hallett?
Here.
Ms. Ryan?
Here.
Ms. Kaplan?
Here.
Thank you. Public comments only if they pertain to something other than the agenda item. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on. Number 4, approval of minutes from March 3rd, 2025. Can I get a
I'll make a motion to accept them as is.
okay,
I'll second.
okay. Any discussion on that? All right, we have a motion and a second. Can we take a vote?
Ms. Kaplan?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Hallett?
Yes.
Mr. Sprecher?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes. Okay, number 5, quasi-judicial announcement and swearing in of speakers. Thank you.
This is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the Heritage Preservation Board acts in a quasi-judicial rather than a legislative capacity. At a quasi-judicial hearing, it is not the board's function to make law, but rather to apply law that has already been established. In a quasi-judicial hearing, the board is required by law to make findings of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those findings of fact to previously established criteria contained in the Code of Ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The board may only consider evidence at this hearing that the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has met the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the board is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has failed to meet the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the board is required by law to find against the applicant. If you're going to speak tonight, can you stand to be sworn in? Raise your right hand. When in doubt, you should probably stand up. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm your testimony before the board shall be the truth, so help you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to look at the first application, number 25.19, certificate of approval to elevate contributing structure at 233 Grand Boulevard. Carolyn?
I apologize. There we go. Okay, Caroline Lanford, Principal Planner with the City of Tarpon Springs. We're looking at application 2519. This is the land use and location of the subject property at 233 Grand Boulevard. This slide shows the location of the subject property in our local and national historic districts. It is a contributing structure in both. This is the 1926 Sanborn map, and the empty spot that is circled is where the subject property sits now. It was believed to be constructed about 2 years after this map was made. So the information on the property is on this slide. It is a Tudor revival circa 1928. It is a contributing structure. And the applicant is seeking a certificate of approval to elevate the home approximately 6 feet above existing grade, enclose the existing patio, add a new wraparound wood deck, and a new exterior porch and stairs to lead up to the front door. This slide shows you the photograph from the Florida Master Site File of the home. This is the east elevation of the home, the facade. This is from the west. And this side shows the north elevation. There's also a 1.5-story garage apartment, which is also a contributing structure on this property. This is showing kind of the north neighbor context. That is the, I'm sorry, my notes here. That's the HDL Webster house. That's neighboring the property to the north. There's some more context looking further north. This is the west context. It's actually right next door to the home that you looked at last month, which is a 1940s frame vernacular. It's the south context. And the Universalist Church is right across the street from the subject property. It's some further southern context. So this is the boundary survey for the subject property. This slide shows you the site plan that they have. This is showing their plans for demolition. And then the proposed ground floor plan. This is showing you the proposed east elevation. So you'll notice there'll be a new first floor, and then they're proposing to carry the porch out past the historic home to tie into the proposed wraparound deck that they have on the back. And made an attempt here to try and pay homage to the original wing wall. And this is showing the south elevation with proposed garage doors leading into that new first floor kind of basement area with the proposed wraparound porch. Notice here they've pointed out using steel garden handrail, but painted wood handrails with cedar wood posts, stairs, and decking. This is showing the west elevation. So some more of that wraparound porch you can see behind that proposed new wing wall. And then the north elevation. Here's some renderings, just to kind of give you a better idea. And this is from the southwest, the northeast. They've also included a landscaping plan. So we'll go through our standards for review. So actually, new construction consistency should have been highlighted. So our first, our first criteria is whether the height or width of any proposed alteration would be consistent with adjacent contributing structures and structures of similar character and architectural style found throughout the immediate district or neighborhood. So this subject property is located in an eclectic area of our historic district. We've got Gothic revivals across the street and to the north, frame vernacular just to the south. There's a craftsman just to the west of the subject property. So there's kind of a mix, and in this area, as you can see, a lot of the properties that are surrounding the subject property are larger, more than one story, and kind of grand, imposing buildings. There are only 4 Tudor revivals in our local historic district, and this is the only one that is not one story. So it's kind of unique on its own, and elevating it, you know, it being unique in that it's the only one. There's no really any other architectural peer to compare it to. So it's my opinion that while elevating the structure would change the height of the contributing structure, because it is in this area surrounded by other large, tall buildings, some of the visual impacts of elevation would be lessened by that surrounding. Our next criteria, which is the width and height of the windows, doors, being consistent with the character of the building's original architectural style. So if you'll note here on this elevation, the applicant did not provide dimensions or product information about the proposed windows. They are proposing 4/1, which is consistent with the architectural style, but as illustrated here, they're not, these, as shown here, the dimensions and the proportions aren't compatible with the historic building. We'd like to see something that is more narrow, more focused on that vertical, like the existing windows, and grouped together differently. So it's my recommendation that if the board should choose to approve this project, a condition of approval would be a revision of the fenestration plan for the proposed new first floor. Let's see. This is probably a good one to discuss. Our third criteria, which is the relationship of the structure within the district to the open space between it and the street, and to other buildings and scenic views and streetscapes. So the proposed new porch and deck would comply with the setback requirements and meet code and everything, but it would alter the views from the street and the views from other structures. So one area of concern is this, tall, new, straight-up stairway. The Secretary of Interior has guidelines for elevating historic homes, and one of those guidelines talks about trying to soften the visual impacts of that elevation. It's my opinion that adding a landing would kind of soften that rise. It would be a gentler step up and would have less of an impact. So I'm recommending that should the board decide to approve this application, condition it with a revision to the front stair plan to incorporate a landing. And also the massing of that deck is going to change a little bit the relationship to the street on the other side, but I think that the impacts to the facade are the most significant. So we'll just keep here. Our criteria 5, the proposed, so the size and mass of the building after the alteration should still be reflective of the building's architectural style. Just inherently in elevating the structure and adding on a new deck, it will alter the height and massing of the historic structure, and just aren't reflective of the original architecture. You would never see a wraparound porch on a Tudor revival. So And in addition, you know, the entryway, the proposal to extend this front porch out past the historic structure, that's just, it's not consistent with the original architectural style. And the HTPB needs to determine if these changes are significantly adverse. Number 6 is that the landscaping shall be utilized as a means to enhance the architectural character and appearance of the structure. The landscaping plan that they provided should help soften some of the visual impacts of the proposed project, particularly liking the retention of the existing live oaks. That's going to help maintain those important elements of that streetscape there, and kind of keep the relationship of the structure with the public realm. Criteria number 7 is that distinctive architectural features shall be repaired rather than replaced wherever possible. The main architectural detail that I'm concerned about here is that historic wing wall. Let's take a look at it. So you can see this wing wall here and its relationship to the historic structure, and then what's being proposed. It's rather different. And I understand it seems like they're trying to pay homage to the original architecture, but I just feel like it's not working, and it's really altering that historic facade. A design that creates, there's any number of design solutions. In consultation with the county's historic preservation specialist, his preference would be for the historic wing wall to stay at ground level. But I'm asking as a condition, if you should choose to approve this, that we kind of look at the design of this wing wall, and also plans for the guards and rails for the stairs on the facade. And then criteria 8, that all building structures and sites shall be recognized as products of their own time, and we shall not attempt to create an earlier appearance than the original date of construction. I do not feel that the proposed alterations attempt to create an earlier appearance. Criteria 9 is compliance with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings. The primary guidelines here from the Secretary that are applicable be number 2. So the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided. So the project does alter the character of the historic property. However, alterations associated with the elevation would contribute to the longevity of the historic structure. Alterations associated with the addition of the second floor deck need to be evaluated by the HPB to determine if these alterations are significantly adverse. And then number 5, that distinctive features, finishes, and construction techniques, examples of craftsmanship that characterize a historic property shall be preserved. So as the plans as presented generally attempt to preserve the distinctive features and finishes that characterize the property. My main concern, with the exception of my main concern being the alterations to the facade with the stairs and the proposed new wing wall. Alterations to that design would definitely enhance this project. And then number 9, new additions, exterior alterations, and related new construction shall not destroy historic materials. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and should be compatible with the massing, size, scale, and architectural features to protect the historic integrity of the property and its environment. So again, generally, the alterations are compatible with the original architecture of the structure and will not destroy historic materials. The elevation component will certainly increase the longevity of the structure. And I think with just a few redesigns, we could better preserve the historic architecture. And then our final criteria is that the proposed project shall conform with the other requirements of this code and be in compliance with the applicable goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan. For the most part, the project is expected to be constructed in compliance with the Land Development Code and the Florida Building Code. I will point out that the highest point shown on the plans is 28.4 feet, which is measured from the bottom of the roof line, and the maximum height allowance in the R60 district is 35 feet, which is measured from the midpoint of the gable. So this structure has a steep roof pitch, and it's difficult to tell from the plans provided, but it possibly could exceed 35 feet, and if that's the case, they would need to seek a variance. The proposed project can be interpreted as balancing the goals, objectives, policies of the comprehensive plan by increasing the longevity of the structure, although the project does not fully comply with the review criteria or the design guidelines review manual. So with that, I'm recommending conditional approval. I've got, oh, this is the wrong one. I've got quite a list of, so we're not going to pay attention to that. Got quite a list of conditions. The first being that the new ground floor should be differentiated from and subordinate to the historic structure. Design solutions can be developed, and so I'm asking that the board condition any approval with requiring that some sort of design solutions be developed with staff. The second condition would be the stairs on the facade would be redesigned to incorporate a landing and mimic the original architecture of the stoop at the bottom, utilizing the rounded shape, because the existing historic structure, the entryway really focuses on arches, and there's a rounded stoop here. So you got the rounded batten door, you got the rounded arch. I feel like the design could be improved by calling back to that shape. Condition number 3 would be the new porch on the facade would be redesigned and limited to the extent of the historic home with no connection to the wraparound deck. So I'd like to see that new porch stop here. Connect back to the proposed wraparound that goes around the back of the house. Condition number 4 would be that the wraparound deck will utilize squared balusters rather than turned. Condition number 5 would be the design and materials for the proposed new facade stairs would be reviewed with staff. Number 6, the fenestration pattern on the new first floor to be redesigned in consultation with staff. Number 7, that plans for the wing wall would be redesigned in consultation with staff. Number 8, that the new garage will utilize carriage-style doors and architecturally appropriate hardware, because we have that in our design review guidelines manual. And then number 9 would be that the certificate of approval will expire in 3 years if a building permit has not been issued for the project. And I'm going to try and find the document on here so we can all see those together. We'll just open it there. Well, while that's trying to load so that we can all take in the 9 conditions I'm recommending for approval, do you have any questions?
Yeah, in our packet here, it only shows the 5. It wasn't updated.
Yeah, I updated the staff report and presentation today because I got comments from the county historic preservation specialist today,
Okay.
which it should,
Could you bring those up then?
I'm trying to, let's see if a refresh won't help. There we go.
Okay, thank you. Can you leave that up too for us?
Certainly.
Is this the first time this board has had to deal with the raising of a house?
To my knowledge, yes, and this is also the first historic home case of elevation in Pinellas County at this
Really?
point,
Interesting.
from these storms at this point. So this is a precedent-setting case, and I do completely understand why the homeowners would want to elevate it. We just want to make sure that we get that elevation done right.
Of course. Any questions, you guys, of Carolyn?
Not right now, no.
No?
I have a point of information.
You'll have an opportunity to do
In a
your
minute.
presentation.
I'd recommend leaving those up there for us.
Yeah, we'll leave those up. Before we move on, any questions from the board up here? For Carolyn? For Carolyn?
I'm just concerned about the basement, the garage area, and there's going to be a basement as well as the garage is underneath.
Yes.
Yeah,
So it's just going to be, I think the applicant could probably explain it better, but it's just like a new first floor. That's going to be a garage.
okay. Are they going to do whatever needs to be done in order, for breakaway walls or something on the basement level?
That would be a question for
Yeah,
the applicant.
yeah, let's save those for the applicant.
It is.
We'll save those for the applicant.
Oh, okay.
Those questions. Okay, well, thank you, Carolyn. Now I'm going to want the applicants to make their presentation. Thanks for coming here.
Hello. My name is Daniel Edgel. I'm with Sandbar Architecture. We're the architect for the applicant here. And thank you for doing a nice and thorough review here. So I just want to cover a couple of things that were mentioned in your review. The first is regarding the window size. You noticed that they were stunted. On the south side of the house, there is a similar window of that size and style on the south side of the house. So, it isn't a totally foreign size to the house. In addition to that, we need to leave room for structure and planting at the bottom. So, we have some functional items to consider as well. For the stair, the house is currently non-conforming with the current zoning setback. If we add a landing or stretch that stair out, we increase the non-conformance beyond what we're already proposing. That is going to require us to get a variance for the stair, even the one that we have in there. So I just want to make you guys aware of that that we might totally agree with you, but then the other board may not. So we do have an additional hurdle that would be required just by extending the stair. There is a deck that wraps around the west and the south side of the house. And so currently, functionally, the three sides of the house are connected, even though there's no deck on the front. It's a small elevation, but there is a deck that does exist on two sides of the house. The landscape plan, sounds like you guys are happy with it. It's a landscaping that the clients, currently use. It's been proven to work in that area, so we just thought we'd kind of leave well enough alone since we know those plants grow. The wing wall. If we left the wing wall on the ground, I'm afraid that it's going to look inappropriate to the house. It's going to be covered by the stair on one side. It's currently higher in proportion to where the house currently is. So if we raise the house, to us it makes sense that the wing wall would come up with it. It would look inappropriately small if we kept it at the same size. We extended it out, and we gave it a little bit of interest with the curve. And if we took the curve straight to the ground, it would look static and uninteresting. So, a little bit of whimsy, I think, is required with that wall. Differentiating it from the ground up, that's easy enough. That's a facade treatment if that's what we had to do. Keep in mind that the lift company did give us some limitations because of their structural requirements. We have a 6-foot maximum structural bay in there, so it's a lot more constraining than what we would normally see, and I think it's because of the characteristics of the house. Variance for the height will, I guess cover that with somebody else there. So, with the railing on the front, currently there's no railing on the front. We used a railing style that's it's not on the house. It's a little less. We wanted something that was a little more minimalistic, just to preserve the way that the house looks on the front, as opposed to using, a bulkier system like we're showing on the side. So that was our thought process there. Is there anything else? Yeah. Garage doors.
The stoop. So the stoop is actually currently square. We don't have a rounded stoop on our home. The front super house is squared off as 2 tiered squares. So
Is
it's square.
he's saying that the stoop is currently, it's square, it's not rounded. If there's an arch to it, it's very subtle. So, you know, arching a landing or the stair design, well, you know, I don't know. It's so subtle, nobody's gonna notice it from the road. So, I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, I wrote down the 4 things, you covered the 4 things I wrote down.
Okay, we had a question about the basement. Anything that's code required, we will do. And it's just a condition of the building code and a function of our job. So, I don't think breakaway walls are required at this location. You know, it's a little closer to the water, but we will have flood mitigation built into the project.
Right.
Yeah, and that, we discussed that with our lifting company directly, so.
Okay, yeah, give us your name
name.
and
Oh.
speak into the mic.
I'm Nick Gunther, I'm the homeowner. My wife is sitting over there. So, the lifting company, we spoke extensively about specifically that bottom floor. What do we have to do for flood prevention, and what should we do architecturally and structurally for managing all that? So we've discussed it with Sandbar, and we're all on the same page what has to happen there. The garage will have, it will be slightly below grade. We currently have an actual basement. So this will be significantly higher than that. So our current basement's a 4.5 foot to 5 foot excavation. This will only be 18 inches or so. And it's only for the portion where we'll be physically putting a vehicle. Everything else will be at ground level with the normal flood vents. So it's only a small step.
Okay, thanks. Anything else you guys want to say?
Not particularly. The motive is pretty obvious. You know,
Okay.
we flooded.
Okay,
And
don't sit down, we might have some questions for you.
sure.
Guys, questions for the applicant?
Not right now, no.
I've got a question. You were talking about for the window comment. So is there so much structure that is required that you couldn't lengthen the windows or maybe do less windows in that section that Carolyn's referring to?
The physical width of the windows is going to be limited by the
I think it's the height,
the height's
it's the
limited by
height,
how
right, you're
tall
talking
we're
about?
going.
Right,
so
so,
that they look similar? 'Cause
Similar
they
to
look
the
squatty
historic.
right
What we're
now.
proposing is allowing some space for some landscaping underneath the windows so that the windows aren't sunk into the landscaping.
Do we need 4 windows?
There's 4 available bays.
Yeah, no, I get that. The only reason I'm asking is we could do 2 longer windows. You could take away the 2 other ones for the landscaping. Could that be?
Well, so to do. what
You
I'm
need to
saying
make sure you
is to
speak
do-
in the mic,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
So what I'm saying is that the actual number of windows across the front of the facade isn't the issue. It's the physical height that's available to install a larger window
Yeah, okay.
that we're looking at. So, you know, we'll likely have a tie beam above those windows. We'll have landscaping below those windows. We don't want to bury the windows in the landscaping itself. You know, you plant bushes, you're going to hide the windows. So, you know, we're trying to allow them to be seen through the landscaping.
I'm not sure I'm following. So what is the square below? Is that that's for flood, right? The, below that, that's where the
Those are
water would
flood
drain
vents,
out?
yeah.
So behind the window, is that like just concrete back? That's part of the garage, right? Or is it actual graded behind those windows?
Yeah, there'll be some concrete.
Okay, so it's an
the
open
garage
space in the
steps
garage,
up.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you went to the floor plan for the garage, you'll see the depressed area, you know, where it physically says the garage, and it's dashed out, and then the other areas around it are elevated a little bit higher.
I think that the 4 short windows give it a more modern look to where I think that's what kind of sets it off, that it doesn't kind of flow together. I think that if there was any way to address that piece, I think it would go a long way.
If I could
We could
add
go-
something?
go
Yeah,
narrow
her suggestion was also to differentiate the new construction. So, you know, we have to decide, are we matching the new construction and trying to, you know, are we trying to match it or are we trying to differentiate what we're doing? I'm hearing mixed signals here.
I think I kind of have mixed signals for you because we're just trying to find our way here.
Yeah,
and
no, that's understandable.
comply with it, but speaking with the county historic preservation specialist, if you didn't want windows, that would be okay too. If we could make this new first floor look like a foundation. So, particularly on the facade, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm supportive of either. The aspect ratio on that first floor is going to be funny. It's only a 6-foot lift. So it is me. So it's tight. So having the normal size windows, which are the majority of our actual walls on the other floors, it's difficult to hit the same aspect ratio. So we're kind of constrained.
So what you're saying is, you know, you can leave those windows out completely.
Yeah, I understood.
Okay.
So that was what, one of the takeaways that I
Yeah.
took in speaking with Tom was that if we could make this really just look like a new foundation.
That would give more,
Right.
draw your eyes more to your house than to the
To
foundation.
come up, yeah. It's too busy looking.
Sure. Saves us $10,000.
Okay. Anything else?
I actually think you did a great job for this monumental task that you've kind of gotten yourself into. As far as that wraparound porch goes, I personally don't have a real problem with it since it's a way to access those back doors and the windows. And like you said, there was a deck there now, isn't there?
Yes.
So you're basically raising the deck and putting a railing around it.
Yeah, if you could show the demolition plan, you could see where the deck currently
Okay.
sits.
Um,
So all of that red on the west and the south side are, that's the
That's decking
existing
now?
deck, that's what's
Okay.
coming out.
And as far as that wing wall goes, I'm not expecting you to redesign it on the spot here, but can you see a way of kind of making that a little,
Well, let's,
Philip, I don't know that you
hold
can
on
without it
one
looking
second,
weird.
you know? You can't take a wing wall, the wing wall, if you're looking at the house, okay? That wing wall above the first floor, above the foundation, is the same. Should be about, except for a little bit that comes out and meets this bottom one. But it's, you know, it flows a lot better, I think, if it went straight down, or if you didn't have it there, that wouldn't look right.
Yeah, we're also concealing some stairs with that wing wall.
Exactly.
right?
from the
Yep.
And I
street
see that,
elevation.
yeah.
Yep, you
And
keep
another
away
thing
the
too is
two-story
the
stairs.
doorway through it. If you just had a wall there, it wouldn't look right.
But staff is also recommending that there is no porch there, so there wouldn't be that doorway, that entryway.
Yeah, I think I'd have to, go with the owner on this one.
Yeah, maybe these are things that we'll
Yeah.
discuss after.
We'll
yeah.
discuss later.
So let's keep this to questions for the applicant right now.
Carolyn, can you put your list back up? Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Okay, no other questions? Are there any public comments, pro or con, about this project? Give us your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Renee Torres. I live at 400 Grand Boulevard. I am a retired architect, a historic preservation architect. I have presented before the board when the church that was shown, I led the remodel efforts there. My point of information was you showed a house that's at the corner of Reed and Grand that was elevated somewhere in time. That house, you can see it in the pictures that you showed. So there is a precedent already in the neighborhood. This house was lifted. I am applying for the same process through Elevate Florida. I have a big gray Craftsman that sits at 7-foot finished floor elevation. And in spite of being a finish 7 feet, we flooded a foot. So I came here to see how this was going to work, but I have no negative comments. I think everything has been done by the book and very professional. So,
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But you may want to take a look at that slide that you put up because it clearly shows a house with the stairs.
You're talking about
My
the
friends own
rust
the
colored
house.
one, right? It's
Huh?
kind of a rusty color.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it has a landing, but the stairs are practically all the way at the front of the street. There you are. You have it right there.
Oh, that one.
That house is about the height that I want to elevate mine to.
That's my favorite house in Tarpon Springs.
Okay. Any other public comments about this project? Okay. I will close those public comments then. And unless there's more from the applicant and from staff, I'll close those comments also. And now I'm going to bring it back to us for consideration. Let's talk about it.
I think we need to take it one step at a time.
Okay,
Okay, and then
let's do that.
we'll bring it up for a motion after we hash it out.
Let's do that.
Okay? Because this is like that other one. Yeah.
All right, you want to start?
Okay, let's just start with number one. Okay, the ground floor should be differentiated, understand that. The windows, you know, the only way I think you can put windows in there is to have it proportional. In other words, the height is 1/3 of the height, whatever the proportion is of the old ones to the new ones. But really, if you look here, can you bring up the front of the house, please? Their drawings.
The proposed.
Yeah. The front door.
There, nope,
Oh, you want to see that? Okay.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it does look off there, and if you're differentiating it, if the whole house is above it, so you really want to make a, solid walls, I'd be in favor of that.
Lose the windows
Yeah.
on the front and the sides? Or are we just talking
I
about
would
the
say
front?
I'm just
I would
talking
say
about
the
the front.
street sides.
The street side?
Street side.
They could soften the foundation by shrubbery.
Yeah.
And that eliminates those windows are in the way of any high-growing shrubbery,
Yeah, and foundation is foundation, it needs to be strong,
Yep.
So,
Okay,
So look, so the windows and the foundation, the first one, and then the window, I would just say, remove the windows, let them take the recommendation from the historic preservationist she spoke to today on that piece.
okay. That would be solid. Yeah.
Can we go back to your list, please?
okay. Let's talk about number 2 then.
The stairs, I think if you push those out, it's gonna be very strange coming off the street. And then if you wanna add a path,
That's
it's
good.
also gonna be very strange. So I think that
Yeah, I think we kind of.
leave the stairs.
So you're liking the way they are
Yeah.
proposed now?
Now, you can use shrubbery or something like that to soften it. I go along with that.
All right, so number 3.
Okay, what's number 3?
The porch facade. I don't really have an issue with that. I kind of get why you would want to connect them.
Okay, now that is.
That's
this-
on the front facade right
the
here.
Front porch.
This-
Oh, yeah,
this,
yeah. See, because that goes in with the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you just had a blank wall there, it wouldn't look right,
Well,
you know?
that's right.
This
Unless
this
they,
flows a lot better,
yeah, it'd be waste.
yeah.
So I don't really have an issue with that piece. It's gonna be different. It's good, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
big change. And I totally understand the change. I would want the same thing. I wanna not worry about a flood.
Yeah,
So I think that, it's okay.
And I think we could look at that as a safety feature, frankly. It gives you another access
yeah, that's true.
to move around the house.
The design and the materials for, okay, so we're good on number,
So what are we thinking about number 3, that porch?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. Anybody else?
What do you guys think?
I think it's fine,
Mhm.
you know. I mean.
It's
they
old, but
are
it's old, but it's
remodeling,
new.
You know,
Yeah.
so
We're
it
gonna have a
is
little bit
going
of
to be
change.
different. And it's a wonderful way to live with a wraparound deck,
They're opening.
you know. And the landing,
Let me look.
All right, let's talk about number 4.
Hold on one second.
Do we have an actual detail of those?
Yeah, it goes to the garage.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
yeah.
Oh, I see.
What are we talking about?
The wraparound
Right.
railings,
Mhm.
number 4.
Uh,
This
Oh,
is
you're talking
what
about on the back.
Oh, that's what-
Right here, this is what she was talking about, these,
Yeah.
yeah,
the
Yeah.
turned ones and just using square instead. I'm okay with that recommendation.
Yeah, as am I.
Are they gonna be wood or
They're wood.
oh,
wrought iron
Well,
think
no,
it
back
said-
here, these are wood, right? The
Wood.
white,
Wood?
the ones in the
or
back
on the
deck.
wraparound?
I think they're wood, right?
Nice.
Okay. All right, let's talk about number 5. Oh, well, I guess that's a given.
what was that?
Number 5,
Right.
and I said, yeah.
What is, I don't know, the
Well,
design
it's just
materials
that
for,
staff will work with them as far as the.
on the materials?
the
That's fine,
materials.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, number 6.
I think that we said they
Well, actually, that's talking about the windows, and we just talked about removing those windows, right?
Right.
I think we just leave it to the recommendation of the preservationists, and at least on the front of the house. And then maybe we amend that to you work, that they work with Caroline on the other sides.
What are we're talking about windows now?
No, we're talking about the fenestration pattern.
The number,
Oh,
number 6.
That's the texture of the wall. We're talking about.
They're talking about the window pattern.
Well, it's also, it includes the windows. And if we're already talking about removing those windows, maybe that one's a moot point.
But I would just phrase it, Philip, remove the windows off the front of the house and then leave it to discretion of Caroline and staff on the other sides.
Okay, remember that when you make
Okay.
the motion.
All right, and then number 7, the
Number
wing wall. I'm in agreement with them. It would just seem very strange to have that wall kind of look, the mass of the house is, and the height, I think you need that.
I would have put that
For the
wing
proportion.
Up would be,
Up, you mean higher?
well, no, it was originally,
Oh, mhm.
right.
Yeah, where is it
But I
originally?
think, you know, how they designed it, how else are they gonna design it?
Mhm. Okay, then how do we feel about that, number 7?
I would
Okay,
just-
as is?
Okay, as is.
As is, yeah.
proposed,
Number 8, I'm good with the staff recommendation on that.
yeah.
And number 9, same.
Okay.
Did you write all those down?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you
Go
said
on.
about number 8.
I did make some notes.
You got everything, Kim?
Okay.
I missed what you said about number 8, I couldn't hear you.
Number 8, go with staff recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And number 9, staff recommendation is good. Did you get number 7?
I actually eliminated that.
Okay,
I
Yep.
can tell you what I have
okay.
the number 1, the new ground floor should be different from this and subordinate to the historic structure. Windows on the foundation should be removed and be accented with vegetation.
Yes, that's good.
Um,
2, you
The
removed.
second one, the stairs on the facade are acceptable as presented by the applicant. That's what I got from your discussion.
Yeah, so you could remove that one.
And then the new porch on the facade will be redesigned to limit the extent. This is, I still have the same one.
We
What do
would remove that one too.
You want to just remove that whole?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the wraparound deck will utilize square
Yeah.
balusters?
We would keep that.
Okay. And then the design and materials for the proposed new facade stairs will be reviewed with appropriateness for,
Yes.
By
the
staff.
Mhm.
and then the new garage will utilize carriage-style doors and architecturally appropriate hardware,
Correct.
and then 3 years.
Yes.
How do you have number 3 listed?
Removed.
Well, I removed it.
Removed it.
So I
Okay,
have
I
number 3
misunderstood.
as the wraparound deck will utilize square balusters.
Because that's how I had it written down here. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're removing number 3. In other words, we're leaving number 3 the way it is. That's proposed by the landowner.
Yes. By the way, with the architect
Yeah, okay.
drew it, yeah. All right, you make a motion?
If there's no more discussion,
You guys got any more down there?
Fine.
any questions, any more comments?
Questions?
Let's do a motion.
You want me to do it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Your turn.
May I need you to read, no, I'm kidding. Okay, we make a motion to, number 1, we will remove that.
Wait, let's couch it with, you make a motion to approve.
To approve.
Oh, I make
Subject
a
to the
motion.
following
Yes.
conditions.
Sorry, I make a motion to approve, subject to the following items. Number 1, we would just remove that from stipulations. So sorry, guys, I'm trying to read from here too.
To interrupt, I do feel that you wanted to keep number 1.
Well, it's kind
That's
of.
that the new ground floor should be differentiated from and
Oh,
subordinate to.
sorry, yeah.
So I suggested we're basically keeping 1,
Right.
getting rid of 2,
Yes,
getting rid of 3, keeping 4,
Yes.
keeping 5.
Mhm.
6 is no longer necessary, that's going up with 1. 7 would be removed, 8 would be retained, and 9 would be retained.
correct.
Yes, that's what I have here.
For number 1, I have it changed.
So it would be condition number 1 as altered, which Kim could read back for you really quickly.
I can read back the whole motion if you'd like.
Please.
Okay.
And can this count on the record so I don't have to repeat it?
Yes, as long as we have that clear on the record, I just want to make sure.
Okay, just to verify, your motion is to approve the application with the following conditions. The new ground floor should be differentiated from and subordinate to the historic structure. Windows in the foundation should be removed and be accented with vegetation. The stairs on the facade are acceptable as presented by the applicant. The wraparound deck will utilize square balusters rather than turned. The design and materials for the proposed new facade stairs will be reviewed for appropriateness by staff. The new garage will utilize carriage-style doors and architecturally appropriate hardware, and the certificate of approval will expire in 3 years if a building permit has not been issued for the project.
I get it all?
Sounds right, doesn't it?
Sounds good.
Correct.
Everybody understand that? Any questions, any more discussion?
Nope. Need a second?
Do we have a
Call for
second?
vote. Oh, we need a second.
No.
Second.
Second would be good.
That would be good, thank you. I knew that. I knew it before you told me. Okay, now we have a first and a second, and if there's no more discussion, let's call for a vote.
Okay.
Ms. Kaplan?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Hallett?
Yes.
Mr. Sprecher?
Yes.
Mr. Mrozinski?
Yes. Congratulations, nice job, do a good
Beautiful,
job. All right, thank you.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Let's see, moving on. Board and staff comments. Carolyn, do you have anything else to say?
I do not
About
have anything to
anything?
say today.
You did
Are
very well.
Should we expect more of these?
Yes, we definitely should. So this isn't the first elevation in our historic district, but this is the first one since this round of storms, and this is the first one, and I don't think it's gonna be the last one.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
This is a question.
yeah, go ahead.
It's for Carolyn. What was the what was the official height of Helene, the storm surge?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. Too much?
Oh, I know that. Okay, just wondering.
Don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
Any other comments from the board here about anything?
Nope.
No? Okay, we will adjourn. It is 7:31. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was very hard. I've been racking my brains ever since I saw the plan.
Find a house.
How you doing?
What can you do?
Austin?